What's going on, Gemini? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having a wonderful week so far. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just incredible, Gemini. And it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Higher Self has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey. Because it's general energy weekly spread. Yeah, I'm gonna really. I've been thinking I might need to get some dancers to go along with some backup dancers. We gotta get a jig going. Gemini, be what's up. But with this weekly spread, whenever you happen to come across this video, there may be some messages in here for you. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you. You can leave the backup dancers with me, and never force a reading on a situation. Okay. So with all that being said, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Crystals, feeling lovely. Just great energy all around here, Gemini. Now I'm going to pull a few oracle cards from this deck here, and then we will get some details with the tarot. Before we jump into this thing, these readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations, okay? Thank you. And in case if y'all were curious, the decks that I'm working with, I've included links for them down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested. But also down below is a link for some other readers that I like watching Gemini, so definitely check them out. Very intuitive group, very, very great energies that they bring, so hopefully you'll like them as well. Well, let's get to your first card here. Oh, looks like we might need to make a call here, Gemini, because you got the second card of Cancers, which is the telephone card. And with this card, this is a card of connection, communication, conversation, getting through, two-way street, message, vocal, loud and clear, reaching out, notification, throat chakra, inner voice, and rings a bell. And you know, Gemini, the energy that is coming through is the conversation. And I feel like for some, that I just feel like in general, Gemini, yours is one that does really benefit from, engaging in very thoughtful conversations. I just actually talked with two different Geminis on the same day. This was like maybe about a week ago. And there was this energy of definitely of being misunderstood, or even because we happen to be talking about Gemini energy and just happen to talk about charts and things, and there's this, I feel like you really, and not even just for you, Gemini, and even if you have Gemini placements, I have a Gemini moon, but I feel like even just helping others, but I feel like really for you, there is this sense of, there's almost this nurturing effect, or that there's this healing that goes down when you are conversing, when you're, and I even mean that if you happen to be like a more of an introverted type, maybe you happen to, maybe we're not talking to people, let's say face to face, but maybe we're really active on social media, possibly, because that's always one thing too I found fascinating, that Gemini's kind of associated with the internet, and it's just to be as tech savvy as I'm not. I'm like, I really need to tap into that a little bit harder. But I don't know, Gemini, I do feel like that there is this need to, or there could be really more of a positive healing effect that could happen through your conversations. If it's just, I feel like it's not just having those, because maybe for some we've been just kind of engaging in more sort of superficial kind of you already know because in Gemini your energy's quick, and so it may be some we already have the conversations pretty much played out in our heads, and then we just we kind of check out a little bit. It's you got one twin that's kind of taking reins, that's kind of half there, and then another side you're all up in your head thinking about something else that's going down. It almost feels like that, just thinking with the Cancer energy, it's having those more kind of, and maybe even finding those groups or those people that you can engage in more kind of real deep, rich, thoughtful type of conversations, or something along those lines there, Gemini. But I do feel like just in general though, if there are some of you, maybe for some others, if there's some conversations or a conversation or maybe conversations that we need to have here, whether this be with friends, family, work, our partner, you're in a judgment free zone, Gemini partners. But if we are, if there are conversations that need to be had, Gemini, let's try not to be where we're kind of like trying to prolong these things or something along those lines, or because it may be maybe we have some difficult ones that we might need to have, and where yes, those are never truly fun, but a lot of the times I do feel that we can make a situation or a conversation a lot bigger than what actually happens. We can play out 100 different scenarios, but we never know how the person is going to really truly act depending on what happened. The day we decide to do this, they may have had the best day of their life, or they may have had the worst day of their life, or maybe their day was just meh. But you never know until we're actually in that moment doing that thing and just having that let's hash it out real quick. So, but let's hash it out real quick, Gemini. Let's get some tarot on this and get some details. Oh, look at that Empress. Love it. Alright, hold on here. Let's see what's going on, Gemini. Oh, look at all these aces. Okay. So you have... Interesting. So you have the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Wands, and the Five of Cups in reverse. And then you have the Knight of Coins and then the Empress upright here. And I feel like for some... that if we've been thinking about this, it's like with these aces here, it's like because the aces for me are like seeds, and it's like we have this thought of maybe taking action, whether to be to have this conversation or maybe just again to get out to converse in general. But I feel like for some, if you have a conversation that's needing to be had, again, I feel like that there's this energy of thinking that we're the only reason we're kind of holding off here is that we may feel that it may not go exactly how we think it's going to go. Maybe that we're not sure if we're going to be able to maybe keep our cool. Just thinking with the Empress being here, or that there will still be that solid foundation or something after things are done. And Gemini, I feel like that if this is something where maybe we're worried, maybe this is a more kind of lengthy type of conversation. Maybe this is something we might need to be a little patient with the Knight of Coins. Maybe get a plan as far as like maybe breaking this up in segments. However this may be looking. Maybe this is like maybe we're getting in like a new relationship and we're thinking about like, okay, what does like moving in look like? What does where do we see this going? Are we gonna maybe like get married, or it's just like what where a lot of questions I feel like could potentially come up with this, or whatever this conversation may be. But I do feel that the sooner we do kind of get a game plan and figure out what we're doing with this energy, the sooner that we are going to be able to find this more sense of peace and security, and then more so just like a because when we have those kind of lingering things on our mind, Gemini, that takes away from you really getting out there and doing what you're meant to do. Manifesting your dreams and figuring out getting towards your highest vibration, whatever that's looking like. But I do feel too, Gemini, just it's like you got the idea and you got the action. The aces can also be with them being seeds. Seeds, it's all about all they really are is just potential. It's And that's interesting too, just even thinking about that. You are in a position where, depending on where your Gemini placements are at, the Empress, Venus, is actually forming sextiles with your with your sign. And sextile in aspects are very similar to aces, where there's an opportunity for you to do something, it's only as effective as depending on how much energy you put into it. So yeah, very interesting energy there, Gemini. But yeah, well, all right, Gemini. I think I'm gonna leave that one there. But yeah, something to think about. Because even thinking with the Empress, one of the signs she rules over on top of, because this is one of Taurus's card, the Knight of Coins. She rules over Libra as well, and Libra deals with those like kind of more kind of personal one-on-one relationships, and just relationships in general, whether they be love, familial, otherwise. And I do feel like that if we take this step, that we can get a little bit closer to feeling just a sense of balance and harmony or something like that, Gemini. All right, let's get another oracle on the mix. All right. Thank you. Oh, throwing stuff is all right. So we have the 6th card of Virgos here, which is the Sap card. And with this card, this is a card of resources, needed materials, flow, wealth, essence of life, spring, blood, nourishment, sweetness, energy, vitality, grounded, roots, abundant, physical health, and life force. And that's interesting, Gemini. The energy that's coming through here is the grounded. And I almost feel like for some, this kind of changes things a little bit. I almost feel like for some that it's like we have these abundance of of ideas, and maybe just of because Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands, that's very, I feel like, a very creative type of combination there, where it's like we're taking our ideas and we're really making them manifest, putting things behind them, but I feel like for some it is paying attention to our actions lining up with our words. Are we setting like, oh, I'm going to do this thing, making all these plans? Because the Knight of Coins for me, he's one of my cards. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. But he's a very responsible figure, very much about getting organized and things. And I just feel that if we've been just saying we're going to do all this stuff, but then not quite following through with this, it's like we're just kind of sitting on this potential here, or something along those lines, Gemini. I feel like it's like, how can we take this, whatever this thing that you're trying to get cooked up here, and how do we get that grounded, whether that be starting up maybe like a new workout routine, or maybe make it at a point to get out and more socialize more, or maybe we're changing up or maybe we're even going towards like a business or something along those lines. The Empress is very business savvy. She rules over Taurus. And Taurus is about their coin. Libra's about the nicer things, beautiful thing. Both of them about nice things. The Empress she lives lavish, and so if we got lavish dreams, Gemini, it's just like, how do we gotta, Empress dreams, you gotta put in Empress work, and that's where I feel like it's just a matching thing for some of us here, but I'm almost kind of getting for some others, though. That maybe with this conversations that we might need to have, or maybe been feeling like we want to have. I'm just kind of looking at this Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands again, and it almost feels like that these aces here, considered like it's like a paintbrush and a sword here, but it almost feels like that it's like it's putting down our weapons or something along those lines, and really kind of coming in more so with a state of, I don't know, really kind of grounding the conversation in the sense of like, let's take things slow. Let's really kind of process this stuff. Like really, I'm really getting that dual side of like the both sides of that Taurus and Libra aspect of like how we can go about, because Libra is very diplomatic when it comes to their speech. I can see all sides. Like, it's very fascinating here that what's coming through, Gemini. Let's get some tarot on this. Oh, look at that. All right, Gemini, we got the sun here, shining some light on some things. Yeah, let's get some more. Thank you. All right, Gemini, let's see what we got here. Oh, look at all these knights showing up to the party. So you have the... Let's see, so we got the Knight of Cups and the Sun card in reverse. And then we have the Four of Coins and then the Knight of Swords upright. Let's see what's going on here, Gemini. Because it feels like, for some, with the Four of Coins being here, it almost feels like that there's this energy of that where... It almost feels like just... Because this is an awfully kind of a intimidating kind of Four of Coins there. And I'm really more so... It's like, I get a feeling that some of us may be kind of dreading this, like something like a conversation possibly, or that there's this it's like when we think about having to do this thing, it's like a light kind of diminishes a little bit. It gets this kind of weird, like, very interesting type of feeling where, because the Knight of Cups, he pursues his stuff with passion, with gusto, but he, there's, with him being in reverse, I do feel a resistance here. It's doing something. It almost feels like, Gemini, that for some it's like we're doing this thing, or we may have to do this thing not because we want to, but with the Knight of Swords because we have to. I feel like that the Knight of Swords, he embarks on challenges, full steam ahead. He's looking to the future. And he was the first two deacons of Aquarius and the last of Capricorns. And, Aquarius deals with that kind of that futuristic energy. Capricorn deals with that sense of accomplishment, achievement, that drive, tenacity, patience. And yeah, this feels to me that whatever this is, maybe this is something that where it's either you need to have a conversation with someone, Gemini, or someone wants to have one with you, where it's like it may not be what they want, but it's because maybe even someone where they disappointed you, Gemini, and they act like you just did something. But I don't feel like this necessarily has to be something where it's just all dread. Even though the sun is in reverse, the sun can still be, it's still very vibrant card regardless, because it's, the sunlight may not be there in that moment, but there is a potential to get it. And that's with all the reverses, but the sun in particular really kind of shines this extra light on things, that because the sun, no matter what's going down, it's going to set and it's going to rise and it's going to keep doing that dance there, Gemini, no matter, and I feel like that's what's going on here. It's just like it's doing those things. It's being grounded. And you do have so when I do like my pre-shuffle and stuff, I like kind of do a little hover over the crystals, kind of feel which ones just kind of feel right for the readings. And you do got like a lot of Jasper energies, that I have like a Kiwi Jasper. Oh, I forgot what this one is, this heart-shaped one, and then just like a regular Jasper here. But we might be trying to avoid something, but I feel like that the sooner that we get this thing out of here, the sooner that we can start moving towards the sunlight again. Again, moving towards this, bringing things to the sense of balance and a sense of harmony here. But all right, Gemini, let's get your last card. Oh, interesting, Gemini. Alright, so you got the second card of Aries, which is the Eclipse card. And with this card, this is a card of union of opposites, conceal, event, mask, upstage, merge, transform, camouflage, hide, overshadow, loss of power, temporary block, support, sudden darkness, and reveal. Interesting. And so the energy that's coming through here, Gemini, is the hide. And Gemini, I do feel like yours is a sign that it's not that, because I don't feel like that we're hiding necessarily, but we might be, maybe we're ghosting. Maybe we're doing this thing where it's like it's difficult, so we're just blocking them on social media, blocking them in phones. And where, if that's something you're doing, Gemini, and listen, I will say I am very tech savvy when it comes to blocking, but that 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 sense of that avoidance is like, is that really what is needed here, or do we? Because let's say even if we had this conversation and it doesn't even, there's no resolution. The thing is that you've at least had it, and now that there's this sense of closure here, now we can go ahead and figure out how we're going to move forward from this thing. But I do feel it's something that if we don't take this time, if we stay hidden, or avoid these more kind of difficult conversations that may need happening, or something along those lines, then it's a tricky path, Gemini, to be on. But I'm also kind of getting to just when we were talking about the maybe even needing to get out and socialize, and just kind of being out there. I feel like maybe for some it's like we have been kind of hiding ourselves, maybe kind of hiding our sunlight, that gregarious energy that you have. Because Gemini, you're really funny. I don't know if anyone's told you that here recently, but you're a very witty sign. To be able to just zingers all over the place, and I feel like people really would enjoy that energy, to have someone who can speak as eloquently and as smoothly, and to be able to talk about numerous topics. And even if you don't know about something, Gemini, you have that natural curiosity that you can even take. You could turn that in, I feel like you open up opportunities for learning as well. It's a beautiful energy that you have, and I feel like that's not something that, the sun is not meant to hide there, Gemini, not meant to be just kept inside for yourself there. We got to get out there sometimes and just let the others kind of see what you got there. Be bright, be bright, be confident. That's something else to be working on with Venus being in Leo, working on that self-confidence and things there, Gemini. But I'm going to pause this 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, Gemini, we're back now. Let's get some tarot on this. Let's see what's hidden here. Oh, look at that. We need to be bold. Be assertive. That's Aries energy right there. Queen of Wands. I see you, bro. Let's see what we got here. Alright, Gemini, last little bit here. Interesting. High Priestess has been going around quite a little bit here, Gemini. So you have the High Priestess, the Death card, the Queen of Wands, and the Page of Wands, all up right there, Gemini. And let's switch back over. Because with this energy, Gemini, So I feel like for some of you here with this energy, I do feel like how we were talking about being hidden earlier, and like, I love this Death card. You see how they got this guy back here. They got him painted as some kind of crazy skeleton. I feel like that what's more so going on here, Gemini, is not that you're the skeleton. Is that I feel like that this is what's people want to see you, Gemini. People want to talk with you. They want to get to know you. They want to learn what you know. And I feel that if we've just been kind of keeping ourselves hidden, kind of keeping that, because the moon, the High Priestess, she's represented by the moon, and we've been talking about this quite a bit. I love that you got the moon and the sun here, but, eclipse energy here, Gemini, and eclipses are about change, and the fact that you got the Death card about this, I feel like how we've been maybe operating might need to change just a little bit. I don't feel like it's anything that is like, necessarily like an upheaval, like you reevaluate your life, but more so just like paying attention to how for those who like maybe need to get out more, just kind of socialize more, how that can change you, how I don't know, that's just like being bold and being assertive. Being, you don't have to even be that bold, Gemini. You just come in with a clever line and just go from there. Like when I was talking with this Gemini, the last one, this one guy, he was saying how he felt this sense of insecurity being able to go up and like talk with people, and it's just like, huh, you could have fooled me. I mean, you pretty much just, you know what, inside you might have been feeling like the little page of wands here. It's just like, you know, you like the idea of going out there and doing this thing, but it's just like, how do we do it? And it's just like, just do what you just did. Just take a chance, you know. And I was telling him there are times I make a game of it, you know. And granted, this kind of came from working in like hospitality, but you know, sometimes it's just like, you know, you kind of look around and just like, I think I'm gonna talk with you. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but let's do it. And you know, sometimes just like that little, just little making it fun, you know, for yourself or something along those lines, Gemini. I feel like it's, you know, it's because you know you've been cooped up in, you know, reading your book for a long time there, Gemini. Tell us about all the stuff that you read, what kind of authors you like, you know, what kind of stories, or how your imagination might. I love it, but also I do feel that with, if we've had some like conversations that needed to be had, or and we're, I almost feel that for some it's like we may be afraid of how things may change with the death card being here. That maybe this was something where the relationship was, you know, used to be real fun and full of all joy and things, but now it's like that it's taken this more serious tone. It's just like, what does that future look like now that maybe, because you know the moon deals with emotions, so it's like maybe this is something where, and you got Cancer energy on this card here, so it's like maybe this is an emotional thing, and maybe this is something that where I feel like, yes, it may be tough, but the death card is Scorpio energy, and it's going to build resilience, and it's going to just, it's going to bring change, you know. If there's, and I feel like it's gonna be something where it's just like with like, I feel like a solar eclipse where, yes, sometimes, you know, the sun is blocked out for a moment, you know, but the sun is still there once the moon passes. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what's gonna happen, you know, with when we decide to take these steps to kind of move on and see, or, and you know, to take this to, if we choose to have these conversations. But, and again, you know, you're, like I was saying, you're in a judgment free zone, Gemini, but understand what that means if you don't. You know, that's just all. It doesn't, I'm not trying to be ominous or anything along those lines. It's just really reflect on that. What is, are you okay with that? And if so, all right, keep it moving, and just see, and just pay attention, you know, how we can take these, what we learn from the situation, and apply it to the future. So that's how your death card, Gemini, all the way. So it's interesting. But if anything resonated with you, give it a, I was about to say, give it a finger gun. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? Like, yeah, you're doing it. But give it a thumbs up, Gemini, and share this if you know someone who's maybe been, you know, struggle in communicating, or because I feel like that's a tricky place for a Gemini to be too, where you're not communicating and not like really getting your thoughts out there and things. Where this is interesting, but you know, and then subscribe, hit that bell button, you're notified when I release videos each week. And then I'm on this meditation app, Insight Timer, and I started a group on there called Zodiacs Raising the Vibration. And it's just a group to post like positive affirmations, encouraging messages, things along those lines. And then as the group grows, I'm going to start posting different healing affirmations and, well, like guided affirmations, healing music, things along those lines. And I can name them different groups, like, you know, I'm thinking self-care with the Empress, but I maybe been kind of tweak that a little bit. But, you know, change 101 with the Death card, go on Void, of course, with the High Priestess, something along those lines, Gemini. So definitely check that out. And then, speaking of the High Priestess, you got a hot ticket to come over to my other channel there, Gemini. Not that you need her, but if you have any Cancer in your placement, Sun, Moon, Rising, excuse me, come on over to my other channel, The Chariot Friends. I do videos Monday through Friday there. Absolutely discuss lunar shenanigans. And we love when the sun comes through. And the Empress, of course. It's a good old time. And all that housekeeping, down in the description box below. But let me get you some prize cards here, so I can get you out of here, Gemini. And you have the Seven of Swords here. And that's interesting, Gemini, because I feel like that. I almost feel like for some where whether this is the conversation that we're not having or the people that we're not talking to, just like socializing and things. There's this energy of I feel like that we may be making it more of a really making it more of a thing than I feel like that than we realize, or making it a lot bigger and like making a mountain out of a molehill, if that makes sense. It seems like, and listen, that's not to say that what's going down isn't difficult, but I feel like that there are ways to say that there isn't a way to resolve this thing or start getting that energy moving. I feel like his the Seven of Swords is a tricky card. It can be a card of lying, cheating, cunning, and I feel like it's not just with what other people tell us, it's what we tell ourselves sometimes. How we can get these narratives of, oh, I can't do this because of that, or because of this, or because of that, and it's just like, well, you just prevented yourself from doing those things. So what's to stop you from doing those things? And then listen, like I'm not trying to sound just glib or matter of fact, because it is difficult, but it is just getting in that mindset. What does that look like? As far as like maybe we started this a conversation, maybe you start out with maybe through text just to kind of test the waters out, and then maybe we can move after a little bit of that, maybe we can move to a phone call, and then maybe move to maybe where we're talking at a restaurant, or like a nice little neutral zone or something along those lines, Gemini. And same thing goes with the getting out there. Start small, start in like a cafe, just getting out there amongst people, and maybe just talking with the barista or something along those lines at first, something real casual, and then as you get more brave, more bold, more Queen of Wands, and go to a festival, but there are ways I feel like we can go about this stuff, and it is something where Nine of Coins, it may not always be Knight of Swords where you're moving through real quick, and sometimes you got to be patient with this stuff, Gemini, but your change is where it needs to happen. The pace that it happens, it varies for all of us. But let me see what's going on with your oracle here. Thank you. Interesting. I like that. So you got the Banish card up right here, Gemini. And I almost feel like that it's letting go of that thought process. It's banishing the thoughts that we can't do, take these steps to either have this conversation, whether it's to resolve things or to get closure or to get out there. It's setting a new pace for yourself, that the sense of yes I can, where there's a will there's a way. And that's why I feel like it's like this. And that may be something too. Maybe we need something like, because maybe these were, even just thinking with like this how do I want to put this? There could have been maybe even something in the past that maybe had sparked up this behavior in the first place, Gemini. Like that, it could even be. Because even just thinking with like the Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands, it's like there's this idea that may have been planted, that it's affected how we invest, how we go, and it's like that could even be something that we're looking at, shining some light on that, because you do got a lot of strong change stuff here, like. And even thinking too, Gemini, just even think with like this mirror here, like how this mirror's like broken. I feel like it's like taking a look at this old you, and it's like when you look at the old you or something along the line, the mirror doesn't even recognize you because you're growing now. Like it's seeing yourself in a more confident light as an empress. In whatever capacity this may be resonating for you, and I hope that this makes sense, but. Yeah, I just feel like the thought of that you can't do this thing or something like that, maybe that mentality or something might need to change, or how we've been. I think I'm going to leave that there, Gemini. Yeah, I hope that made sense, but you stay safe out there. These conversations, and if we're talking with someone, or if we're just getting out there, just being social there, Gemini. Just be safe out there. you raise your vibration to the roof. You know, especially if we've been kind of dealing with some tough stuff, or been kind of in our heads, kind of debating about how we're going to go about things and how things are going to change. And I know it's a lot, Gemini. So yeah, just take care of yourself there, and I will catch you on the next one later.